The Premier League is said to be the best league in the world. It's very competitive, highly marketed, and it's a preferred destination for a lot of top players. Now, it might be all of these things, but the truth is that not all players have really fancied the league that much. Some have come to try it out and left with a bitter taste in their mouths. Who are some of those players? We'll find out in this video today. These are 8 players who regret ever playing in England. We'll start with Ángel Di María. He is a legend of the game through and through. World Cup winner with Argentina, Champions League winner with Real Madrid, League champion in Portugal, Spain and France, top assist provider in a season in the Champions League, Ligue 1 and La Liga. This dude has really done it all, but there's always going to be one massive stain on his CV, his time in England. He moved to Manchester United in 2014 for a big fee, the biggest ever paid by a British club at the time. But despite the high anticipation, it ended up being a terrible year. Things just didn't click for him at United, and his relationship with Louis van Gaal did not help at all. In fact, he never even wanted to move to Man United in the first place. He hoped to have moved to PSG straight from Madrid in 2014, but it was delayed. Anyway, after just 1 year in England, he got his move to PSG, and well, he was back to being one of the best wingers in the world. We're pretty sure the Argentine often looks like at his time in England and wishes it just never happened. Radamel Falcao probably also feels the same way. He's recognised and respected as one of the best strikers of his generation. He did it in Portugal, France, Spain, and even did it in Turkey. But England? Yeah, those were really dark days for him. He left Monaco and moved to Manchester United on loan in 2014. He was 28 at the time, so he was in his prime. In fact, he was linked to Real Madrid, Arsenal and Juventus that summer, so United getting him on loan with an option to buy seemed like a huge steal. They put him on £265,000 per week to reflect his superstar status, and top stars like Cristiano Ronaldo praised the move, saying it was a great signing for United. But after all of this, it turned out to be a hopeless signing, with the striker netting only 4 times in 29 games. Things hit a terrible low when Van Gaal made Falcao play in an under-21 game, which prompted great criticism for the coach, including from Diego Maradona, who said that Van Gaal was closer to the devil than anything. Everyone said that it was a Man United thing, so when he moved to Chelsea on another loan deal, we all thought Falcao would prove the Red Devils wrong, but it turned out to be just as bad. A series of injuries made it difficult for him to make any significant impact at the club. He returned to AS Monaco in 2016, and guess what? He was in 43 appearances, helping Monaco reach the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time in 13 years and winning them the league title. In hindsight, it looked like he was never the problem. It was just England. England was the problem. And even a Ballon d'Or winner had this testimony. Do you know who we're talking about here? Tell us in the comments. We'll see if you're right soon. While you're there, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Now, back to the video, and still on the theme of forwards, Yago Aspas surely wishes he could wipe his time in England off everyone's memories. Having come up from the Celta Academy and established himself as a rising star, he moved to Liverpool in 2013 and hoped to go on and dominate England, but he did nothing of that sort. He struggled from the very first day to the last. First of all, the Spanish national really struggled to learn the language, so communication was difficult. Then there were just too many players ahead of him in the pecking order, including Coutinho, Sterling, Sturridge and Suarez. In his 1 year in England, Aspas failed to score a single Premier League goal. His only goal for Liverpool came in the FA Cup against Oldham Athletic. That alone shows you how forgettable his time there was. In 2014, he returned to Spain, moving to Sevilla on loan. He then permanently left Liverpool in 2015, returning to his boyhood club Celta. Since then, Aspas has never even entertained the thought of leaving Spain again. And well, since we're talking about former Celta players, let's also throw Nolito in there. He was a fine player who won the league with Barcelona and Benfica and won the Europa League with Sevilla, but after he got his big move to England, he immediately regretted it. He played under Pep Guardiola in Barcelona, so when the Spanish gaffer got the Man City job, he decided to bring Nolito with him. Of course, Nolito jumped at the offer. Celta to City was a big move and he was excited, but what seemed like a sweet offer soon turned very sour. He struggled with the language and famously hated the weather, joking that his daughter had started to look like she was living in a cave because of the Mancunian weather. Because of these and a few other factors, his performances took a massive dip. forcing the coach to give him less and less minutes as the months went by. Once the summer transfer window opened, Nolito ran back to Spain, and he just never looked back since then. And you know who we're sure will never look back now: Antony. The Brazilian winger rose to be one of the most exciting and promising wingers in the world during his time at Ajax. This was what led to him being the most expensive sale in Eredivisie history after he moved to Man United for €100 million in 2022. Interestingly, he hit the ground running in the Premier League, becoming the first player in Man United history to ever score in their first 3 Premier League games. But after the honeymoon phase came a massive dip, and the fans and media started to come down heavily on him because of his huge price tag. He was memified, mocked, and labelled the worst footballer in history. It was all so terrible, and it genuinely looked like there was no way back for the Brazilian as a footballer. But he left England and moved to Real Betis on loan in January 2025, and suddenly the sun started to shine on him again. He was named Man of the Match in his first 2 games for the club, was nominated for the Player of the Month award in his first month in La Liga, and helped Real Betis reach a European final for the first time in their entire history. His loan spell at Betis was so good that the fans begged for him to sign permanently. He heeded their pleas and eventually made his loan move permanent in the summer, and things have continued to go super well for him. This season he already has 12 direct goal involvements in 17 games for the club. In fact, Antony already has more goals and assists for Real Betis in 43 games than he did in 96 for United. The 25-year-old probably wishes he never stepped foot in England. He'd probably be in a much better place in his career right now, and Andre Onana probably feels the same way too. This guy had an incredible reputation at Ajax and Inter. In fact, despite losing the Champions League final to Man City in 2023, the Cameroonian was hailed by fans and the media for his performance in that game. But he moved to England the following season, and it started to look like he was the worst goalkeeper in the world. He even said himself in an interview, "You want to tell me that? In just 6 months, the best goalkeeper in the Champions League last season can become the worst in the world?" That statement alone shows you how much the pressure and criticism got to him. He has now moved to Turkey, and all of a sudden, he seems solid again. We're pretty sure that his Man United days are now completely behind him, and we doubt he'll ever think of moving to England again. Now, remember we said we have a Ballon d'Or winner on this list? Of course, it's Andriy Shevchenko. The Ukrainian did it all in club football. Champions League in 2003, UCL top scorer in 1999 and 2006, Serie A top scorer in 2000 and 2004, and of course the Ballon d'Or in 2004. Having done all this at AC Milan, one of the best clubs in the world at the time, moving to Chelsea was supposed to be a piece of cake for him, but it turned out to be poison. At the time, Shevchenko's transfer was the most expensive signing by an English club, reflecting his superstar status. But the reality was much different from the expectation. He hardly started and hardly scored, not even managing a single Premier League goal. He returned to AC Milan on loan in 2008, before he was then sold to Dynamo Kiev in 2009. Till date, his time in England remains the only dent on what could have been a perfect career for Shevchenko, but it's hard to see many players who regret playing in England as much as Donny van de Beek. He went from being one of the most promising midfielders in the world in Ajax to being a complete nobody. His career basically went to England to die, but compared to most of his other counterparts on this list, he was unable to revive it after. His time at both Man United and Everton were nothing to write home about, and he has not been able to revive his career so far, not at Eintracht Frankfurt or at Girona. We're pretty sure that somewhere at the back of his mind, he feels he'd have been in a much better place right now had he not taken that move to Man United back in 2020. Another player who surely wishes he never moved to Manchester was Claudio Bravo. He was one of the most highly rated goalkeepers back then, having won the European treble with Barcelona and Copa America with Chile, but he moved to England and looked absolutely clueless. He picked up a red card in the Champions League against Barcelona, had the worst save success rate of all the goalkeepers in the Premier League, and was relegated to the bench for Willy Caballero just 6 months after he was signed. He hoped the following season would be better, but he went and ruptured his tendon, forcing him to miss the entire season. After that injury, his woes continued. Remember that game where Kyle Walker had to go in goal? Yeah, it was because Bravo got himself sent off again. After 4 pretty bad years, he finally left Man City. He's remembered as a legend by a lot of fans, but his time in Man City is surely something he wishes he could totally erase. Let's now wrap up with Sebastian Haller. From being behind only Robert Lewandowski for goal involvements in the 2018-19 Bundesliga season, Haller moved to West Ham and instantly looked like he didn't know how to kick a ball. Apart from that one amazing goal he scored, his time at West Ham was torrid, and he was done no favours by David Moyes' appointment, as the boss preferred Antonio over him. Things were so bad that Haller didn't even see out his second season in England. He left halfway into the campaign, moving to Ajax, where he was completely revived, even going on to break multiple Champions League records. Are there more players who regret ever playing in England? Drop their names in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.